Lots of bamboo. We can make Krishna a flute in bamboo, and I tried to teach it to a bunch of 10-year-olds. Well, it turns out using a gas stove and flame and like hot nails is not the best idea for young kids. However, guided by an adult or being very conscientious, I've no doubt that you can safely do this at home. I did it without trouble, except when I tried to pick up the nail and it was still burning hot. But we have a couple of different types of bamboo. Green bamboo that I harvested earlier, and various thicknesses. So you can just use a pair of garden shears to cut the bamboo, it cuts it fine. And you'll need a pair of pliers of any size and a nail of the size that you want. And I can't wait to show you. So here we go. Deities will have different size hands. The holes in the hands can vary quite substantially, so it's a good idea to check the size. Here I'm comparing a smaller bamboo piece to a flute. This one is nice and it sits in nicely, but I wonder if we could fit in thicker, which we can. I like to have the joint of the bamboo at the end where it will help anchor a tassel because there's already notched. We want to mark out using a watercolor pencil where we want the initial hole and cut it using thick snippers. Now that it's cut, you can mark out where you want your holes to start from. Now, the first time I did this, I was happy with positioning, but I did not get even measuring on the holes, so they're a little bit scattered. So mark the initial hole out using the watercolor pencil because that just rubs off really easily. Laying it on some sort of grid so you can establish even spacing for your holes. I don't have a specific number that I do for the holes, but I have heard there's flutes with different hole amounts. This time I just decided to do 8. I use some clamps to secure the bamboo flute because you want to stabilize it when you're putting the holes in. Now, I did use 2 of these, just kind of normal cable clamps, but there's other things you could do if you don't have some of these lying around. For instance, you could tape it onto a bit of wood. The idea is just to stabilize it in place. Then I use a nail, which I've used before, of a measurement that I like, a diameter that works pretty well. And we want to hold it with pliers because you can't get your fingers too close to the gas. I happen to have a gas cooking stove, and that's what I'll use in this instance. You could also use a Bunsen burner if you have one, or perhaps a fire. That sounds a lot hairier. So the gas stove works really well. I have tried it using a candle, but it never got hot enough. I sped this section up. It took 1 minute for the nail to actually heat up enough to pop smoothly through the wood. So just place it in and then it just pops through. It as soon as it gets too cold, it's not going to go through smoothly. So yeah, just keep heating it, keep heating it. When you see the end is all like a fiery burning red, coal red, then it's ready, and you want to put it through as swiftly as possible so it doesn't lose the heat. I don't have a better way of doing this than with a nail and pliers, but I can imagine if there was a tool that had a handle on it, that would be better. If you have an idea, let me know. Maybe my handy friends will have a better idea. So it just pops in. Look at that beautiful smoke. So cool. And it also leaves behind this nice kind of dark hole, which I think is very attractive. I thought I might be able to get a second hole out of it, but definitely not. It just was not hot enough by the time the second one came around. So I've edited it out, all the sections where we reheat the tool, because every time it took ages, like maybe another minute. So just putting them smoothly in. There could be a way, perhaps with a better tool or something, to try and align them along one line. Like they look a little bit like they're sliding around on the pole, but overall it's pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. This is probably the 5th or 6th bamboo flute that I've made using this technique, and I think it works, really well. It's much more effective than trying to drill holes or just painting them. I find it quite satisfying to know that it's like could be a functional flute. If you think any of the holes haven't quite gone all the way through, then you can just pop the nail back through them again to check. For the end piece, we'll do the final hole here. Now for the end one, I just kind of think that those holes are slightly larger than the finger holes. So when I reheated the nail, I kind of twisted it backwards and forwards. Releasing the bamboo flute from the clamp. Now we get to try it on Krishna and make sure that all of our little holes and the blowing hole is lining up nicely with his face. Well, first of all, it sits in his hands perfectly. I think that you can have a longer flute, but this is a length that I think works pretty well. So beautiful. It's just resting below his lips with the blowhole, which is perfect, and the finger holes look a reasonable length for his size fingers to be dancing across them. So yeah, it worked really well. What do you reckon? Are you ready to do it yourself? It's such a nice service to offer Krishna. I think that you'll be able to, and I'm super excited to see what you do. So I'm going to share a part 2, and that will be how we ornament his beautiful flute. There's all sorts of ideas that I have. I want to do a couple of iterations and make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out. Krishna Krishna, Haribol!